Welcome to this week's episode of the Top Podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Rob, and joined with me my friends Mike
Happy New Year.
and Lou.
Yes, Happy New Year. Wow, that was good.
That was worse than last time.
Yeah, too much pressure.
Too much pressure. So each week we like to start off the week with an icebreaker. I was watching some old videos and I'm like, man, there's something I always wanted to do as a kid, but it's just not possible anymore. So I want to know for you guys, what is something you always wanted to do growing up, but either you can't do it because you just never got the opportunity to, or it just doesn't exist anymore. So for me, I was watching a lot of old machinima videos, so throwback to any of the OG YouTubers out there that saw machinima videos. But one big thing in the whole gaming industry was E3. Mike, I know you know of E3. Lou, do you remember E3?
I remember E3. Yeah. E3 was good.
Yeah, so for all you Gen Zers and people that are new to, the internet, newer, I should say, because, E3 hasn't been relevant for 20 years. Basically, at the early 2000s, everyone would get together, all the game developers, and have this big conference where they would announce all the new games and, show trailers and gameplay and all that. And it always just seemed like the best thing ever. It was like Christmas in July for video game enthusiasts. And so me and my friends, we talked about it a few times, like, oh, we're going to rent a camper and drive down there and go to the E3, which I'm pretty sure you needed, like, press passes because it was a developer event. But we always wanted to do it. And I think after living on way past what it should have been, especially with, Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation, Bethesda all making their own conferences, I think it was put down. I don't even know if it made it to 2020 or not. But how about you guys?
As a kid, I always wanted to play in the NFL, and I think we can officially say that ship has sailed.
No, there's still time.
No,
Your body hasn't gone through a lifetime of NFL time, so it's looking a lot better for your age than what they would be in the NFL.
What position?
Probably O-line.
Let's start balking up, my man.
I always wanted to be running back.
Running back. Nice. I mean, out of all the
how's your vision
things,
for
running
your
back?
vision is
Not good. That's why I kind of gave up on receiver pretty quick.
They can put like a sound in the ball, something that you can hear. I've seen stuff like that.
Have it like a whistle.
That'd throw people off really bad.
Yeah.
So I was pretty decent relative to kids in Allen Park, but I don't think I ever had anywhere near what it takes to make it in the league, and I don't have the joints for it either. Plus, I'm not supposed to take like hard hits because of my eye condition, so it had just been a nightmare.
How about you, Lou?
I wanted to make a video game. I wanted to be indie developer before I even knew the word for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got older, and then I found out, oh, this is not the type of work that I would be good at.
Don't want to learn to code and everything?
No, I didn't. Nope, did not want to learn how to code. I still don't really want to learn how to code. I would love to be like the brains. I think we talked about this on the pod before, but I would love to be like somebody come up to me is like, what do you think is a good video game? And I could like kind of walk them through.
Yeah, be a consultant.
Yes, consultant of it. But yeah, the actual making of the video game, there's no way.
Mm-hmm. But out of all three of us, yours is the most realistic, so we'll work on it, Lou.
I don't know. Something about the NFL really speaks to me. There's a movie with
no, not a chance.
What's that movie where not Matt Damon played it?
The Eagles. Moneyball?
No, that's baseball, isn't it?
The guy who was like a walk-on, right?
Yeah, the guy's like a walk-on. It's not Matt Damon, but it's the one Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. What's his name? Mark.
Oh, jeez, I should know this.
Yeah, I'm just drawing a blank too.
From Daddy's Home and Daddy's Home 2.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I don't know. We need to just move on. It'll come to one of us, and we'll just yell it out in the middle of whatever someone else is saying.
Mark Wahlberg.
There it
is.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie, but I've seen the Always Sunny ripoff of it. Basically the same thing, right?
Yeah, same.
So this week, I wanted to know what your guys' top 5 video game bosses were. I think it was harder than I expected. I know we were talking a little beforehand. Mike kind of had trouble with. He got 3 right away. It was kind of
Yeah, bang, 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 and
but,
then just ooh.
yeah. And I got 4 right away, and then same thing. I'm like, man, who would I really want for this 5th one? And then I thought of I don't know how I forgot one, but I added that in right in before the pod. Lou, did you have trouble with this list or did it come
I
right
have
to you?
2 lists. I have 10
Whoa,
video games. Yeah.
overachiever.
I know.
Do we have
I
an
know.
option? Like, what's the themes of these lists?
My theme is a lot of like either learning patterns or just how cool it is.
Okay.
Those are my 2.
Yep, pretty much same. It was like ones I enjoyed, which practically just boiled down to difficulty that fit my taste, and then there's one that's just like nostalgia, and then one that is pure like spectacle and vibes,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm normally not about, but
I agree. That's a good segue into my number 5, which is from the 2006, I would say classic, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and it is Morpheal. If you don't know what this boss is pure spectacle. It's super easy. I mean, let's be honest, most Legend of Zelda bosses are super easy. But it's
is
in
that the one where you're on the giant spinning gear thing?
No, it's not that one's also really good. I sent a picture of it in our Facebook chat. But it's in the water temple, and you start off on the ground, hook shotting this eye thing, and this giant worm comes out, and basically you have to ride on its back and take your sword and just stab it down in its eye. And as a kid, I just loved it, and the music is like crescendoing and everything. Super easy, but I think it is one of the most spectacular bosses, and just makes you feel super cool that you're beating up on this eel like 100 times your length and just smiting it. So for my spectacle boss, that is it. I think it's like I said, it's a good number 5 because the boss is so easy. My goodness. You recognize that one, Mike?
I never played Twilight Princess, but it sounds a little bit like the N64 Mario like underwater thing where you get the eel out and then you got to get the star off its tail.
Mm-hmm.
That's what comes to mind.
And it's kind of also similar to the water temple boss in Ocarina of Time.
Really?
Yeah,
That sounds not what came to
Morpha
mind.
is the Ocarina of Time one.
Similar in what way?
So it starts out, you have to shoot like the glowing thing with your hook shot. So the first phase of the boss is shooting that. You have to shoot out and smack it around with your sword. Were you gonna say something, Lou? Sorry, I cut you off there.
Oh no, yeah, no, it's okay. It sounds a lot like I was trying to do the research. I'm really messing up with names right now. It sounds a lot like the video game where you're like beating up straight up titans to save your girlfriend.
I think it's your sister, Shadow of the Colossus. I'm still toying with the idea of switching my number 5 to every single boss in that entire game.
Well,
at a 15-way tie. So.
Well, we'll go with Mike. What's your number 5? Now's your time. You're up next.
Screw it, we're doing it. We'll go with the final boss from Shadow of the Colossus. So Shadow of the Colossus is like a puzzle game with kind of janky controls. It's out on PS5 still, so it is. Yeah, aggro. So it is definitely playable, and it is possibly the best horse name out of any game. But yeah, so
a classic, man.
You literally just ride around to where the next boss fight is, and then the boss is like a puzzle. Some easier than others, and you basically have to scale the boss, find its weak spots. You have a stamina wheel, and yeah, there's really nothing that by today's standards would be groundbreaking, but it was crazy when it came out on PS2. The idea that every single fight was a boss fight was really neat. And so the boss fight is like the final boss fight. It's like a challenge to even reach this just truly colossal boss. Like it just dwarfs all the others, and you have to just use all the different little tricks you've learned throughout all these bosses to reach it, and then scale it and reach all of its different endpoints. And it's just it's just pure hype. It's awesome, and it's a spectacle, and it's a ton of fun, and it's the kind of boss where you see it and you're like, "There's no way," and then you beat it and you're like, "Yeah, I did that." And it's not even that impressive, but it was just so big that it feels good to have knocked it out.
Dude, that game looks so. I mean, it still does look good, but at the time, oh my gosh, Those graphics
Oh,
were
yeah.
mind blowing.
You can there's a thing basically you hold a button and you hold up your sword, and then like light comes off the tip, and it's kind of like dispersed, but if you're facing the right direction, it kind of all comes down into like a laser point. And so that's how you know what direction to go to get to your next boss. I did not realize that was a mechanic when I played it on PS2 for the first time. And so I've got like 5 or 6 of them done before I realized, like, oh, this is guiding me to the next boss. And so I was literally just riding around aimlessly, and I'd find a boss ring, but you have to fight them in order. And so I'd be like, oh, this is one of them. And so after a while, I had like almost all of them figured out, and I would just go one to the other, to the other, to the other until it triggered the fight. And I finished the second half a lot faster than the first half. We'll say that.
Yeah, speaking of things that don't no longer exist, I remember seeing the review for that on was it X Play or whatever the time was on G4.
Oh, G4! Wow.
Yeah, really showing our age here. Lou, you ever
that
played
was-
Shadow Colossus?
I played it as an adult and I didn't like it.
The controls are not good.
It got me, yeah. But I always wanted to play it because there's so much hype to it, and I got it. Like I played it and I understand why people loved it. If the controls got fixed, I think I would enjoy it a lot more.
That's how I felt with The Last of Us, so I completely understand.
Yeah, it's a game where I would love to. I watched it, but I don't think I.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's almost a game you could just watch. Like it could be like a one-player couch co-op, blah, blah, where just other people are like, try this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's actually how I experienced the game. My neighbor Kevin came over and he would play it on my PS3 because we had the HD version. So I'd watch him play it. I think he bought it. He's like, hey, if I buy this, can I come over and play it? I'm like, yeah, sure, man. Go for it.
Nice.
Lou, what's your number 5?
My number 5 comes from a game called Cuphead.
Oh,
It
nice.
is Grim Matchstick.
Which one's
So
that?
when I thought of like the hardest boss that I played in the recent, that has really driven me nuts to a point where I had to put my controller down.
Oh, F that guy.
Were you guys mean to your controllers growing up?
No.
Oh, yes.
No, I can't stand it.
I would be mean to my controllers, but I would throw the controller like on my bed. I would never like crack it on anything, but my bed has definitely seen some controller anger.
That's better.
I think this is. Oh, sorry. Go for it.
I was gonna say I remember, like, especially for Smash Bros, I bring my GameCube controllers and people like throw it on the ground like, yeah, you can't use my GameCube controller anymore, because at the time especially they weren't making them, so I'm like, yeah, no, get out of here.
Oh,
Couldn't
yeah, you
stand
don't
it.
throw other people's
People
controllers
would.
on the ground. That's,
that's
not cool.
That's not cool at all. As a bad friends.
Well, it's the reason we
Unless
don't talk
you're
anymore.
still friends with them. Oh, okay. Yeah, Grim Matchstick. I think it's the hardest boss I think it's harder than the final boss. I love the final boss in Cuphead, but for some reason, something about this Grim Matchstick really got me. It's one of the flying ones, the flying bosses, and I'm a big phase guy. I love phases in bosses because it kind of just creates that never-ending dread of like, when will this end? How many phases are there? You know, that kind of vibes.
Mm.
And by the third phase, when he grows 2 more heads, I'm just like, I don't know if I can ever beat this game. It's just like, I don't think I'll ever be able to do it, you know. But yeah, it's really, really good. One of my favorite things for Cuphead is that there was that parry system where if you see something pink, you parry it, and just so good. Big fan.
Did we beat this boss together? I know we played a little bit when it was only exclusive on Xbox.
No. That's so funny because we played this game the first time I played it. When I played this game with you. No, Cuphead is so much harder with 2 people versus 1.
Is it?
I don't. Oh my gosh, it's so much harder. I brought Seamus, who's also been on the pod. We played this. We tried to beat some bosses together, and we couldn't do it. And then he went home, and I played it myself, and I could do it a lot better.
I wonder if they up the
Probably
health or
skills
whatever.
for 2 people. Yeah.
Yeah. It scales hard, in my opinion, at least. But
Yeah, I don't like Cuphead, but I like it less as co-op.
What don't you like about it? Just because it seems like it'd be up your alley. It's like a 2D
It
platformer.
does. Everything
Dark
about
Souls
it was just like, this screams me. I don't know. It was just like, it might be that the time just hasn't been right for Cuphead yet. But when I played it, it was just annoyingly difficult as opposed to this is fun. Which
It's such a fine balance.
it is, and the mood I'm in is an important factor, so it very well could have just been a timing issue.
Mhm.
And someday I'll go, oh, this game's awesome. But right now I think it's a little overrated. Sorry, Andrew.
Wow. It's cool that they hand drawn everything, right?
Mhm.
Am
Yeah,
I-
it's gorgeous. The style is
Crazy.
fantastic. The music is great. Like,
How was the TV show? Didn't they make a Netflix TV show?
did they really?
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
did
they
not
did.
watch
watch it
it.
up on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I did not watch it either.
I heard it got 0 Christmas trees out of 5, though.
It's got 75% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 7.4 on IMDb.
Huh. Not terrible.
It's violent and scary though, so be careful when you're showing your kids, everybody.
Ooh.
I'm violent and scary. I'm just playing.
All right. Oh, also, guys, I did add an agreed button. So if you have someone else on your list that has the same spot, hit the agreed button. If you it's somewhere else on your list, hit objection, and then we can go on from there. But I thought I'd let you guys know because I figured, Lou, you might have one of the same boss as Mike does. Mike and I already talked a little bit beforehand, so I don't think we're gonna have any overlap. But just want to give you a heads up. My number 4.
All right.
I think there's something about just having a boss that you hate with every fiber of your being. And this one, I don't think most people would consider a boss, but in every game he's in, he always hinders a player, and basically you beat it when you get out from under his thumb. IGM does list him in the top 100 video game villains. He is cold. He has a cold, dead heart of a megalomaniac whose sole desire is to make a quick bell, and that is Tom Nook from the Animal Crossing series.
Get out.
Still.
100% a boss. The whole game is you're trying to get out of debt to Tom Nook. And the amount of hours it takes, probably more than it took me to, well, definitely more than it took me to beat Mikola, but you know.
So this is the one that it took you a while to think up, or
No, this was my loot pick.
that's fair. I'll grant you a loot pick.
One last thing I'd like to add is, in one, if not more games, there are times when Tom Nook is a literal boss. So it's just undisputed whether he's a boss or not. We each get one, unless you're Lou. Then you can get unlimited. Yeah, I
Amen,
mean,
brother.
he's definitely, like I said, he basically enslaves a player. Let's be honest, he slaves a player to him, and the whole game is you're trying to pay off and get out from under him. So I think he does check the boxes of being a boss. I don't think he's your classical boss, obviously, but when there's someone you need to hate with every fiber of your being, it's hard to think of someone I dislike, a video game character I dislike more than Tom Nook. And I know
Never been in debt in that way, so.
So I
I've
don't
never
think
played Animal
you guys have
Crossing,
played
so
Animal
I guess I
Crossing.
can't.
So
Yeah.
let me know down below. Tom Nook, why is he the best boss or the worst boss? Either way, let us know. Mike, what's your number 4?
Money bags from Spyro. Since you guys clearly don't know Spyro, that was a great joke. At Rob's
I figured
expense.
it was similar.
My real number 4 is Evil Eagle from Eagle's Tower in Link's Awakening.
So long since I played
One of probably the best level, in my opinion, in Link's Awakening is this multi-level tower that, for something that was originally dreamed up on a Game Boy game, is absolutely insane. It's a multi-level tower, which for a top-down 2D game is already really pushing, what they could do. And then you have to like move this gigantic ball all throughout the level and break all these pillars. And when you break the pillars, the top of the tower drops down, and then you can climb to the top. And there's this guy that you fight as the like the mini boss, and like he controls all these little tiny birds and he sends them flying at you, and then he runs away. And when you get to the top of the tower, he's waiting for you. And then this huge eagle flies down and he hops on the eagle, and then you have to fight him again, but this time he's riding an eagle. And in the original fight, it wasn't all that complicated. It was basically just like he's going to do flybys and you have to try and hit him. And then sometimes the eagle will flap its wings and try and blow you off the tower, and you got to use the Pegasus boots to run against the wind and stay on. But it was by far the most thought out and involved boss fight in the entire game. And what's more, it's always stuck with me. And so, it's probably not the best boss on any of these lists. It's one that I just have nothing but good feelings for. And every time I replay that game, I look forward to fighting the evil eagle. Also, they could have done better with the name, but whatever.
Did you play the original one on Game Boy?
I played the
color?
well, technically I've played all three at this point. I played the original. I had the color, and then I lent it to a friend, and her mom like gave her coat away, and the game was in the coat, and she was like, "Oh," her mom was like, "Oh, hey, I'm sorry. We're gonna buy you a new one," and then they got me the new one, and it was the freaking black and white Game Boy version, and I was like, yeah, my parents are not, they're going to beat me upside the head if I point out that this is not the same game. So I was just like, thanks. And then I bought it again for myself later. And then the remake came out. I snatched that up quick.
Does the remake do a good job of making it like a 1-to-1 fight? Did it feel exactly the same? Granted, you've matured and, have gotten smarter as you're a kid.
So the only thing is that it was probably more fun because you don't basically it had some quality of life improvements. In the original, you only had 2 buttons. In the Switch remake, there's a ton of buttons, and so it just like locked a bunch of different items directly to buttons, and so you don't have to do the obnoxious item swap mid-fight because you need to be able to run, swing, and jump. And that's 3 items right there. So it's a little smoother. But I enjoyed it. Excuse me. I enjoyed it every bit as much.
Mm-hmm. Never played Link's Awakening, Lou? I'm guessing.
I've only played 2 Link games, and you guys know which ones I played.
Breath of the Wild and
Breath of the Wild
and
Kingdom.
There you go. It's one
Well,
of
if you're
those
looking
new
for
school
a
Zelda.
third, Link's Awakening's a really fun way to get into it, and it would be another one I think you'd like.
Yeah, I would play that one, and then I'd play the newest one, but that's with
Zelda.
That's with Zelda.
Yeah.
Sorry, that one's with Link. The other one's are Zelda.
Yeah.
Andrew's he's raging right now. What's your number 4, Lou?
My number 4 is my cool pick, I think. There isn't much to it. It's a pretty cool boss battle, but it's mostly because I think how cool it is. It is Hercules God of War 3. It is a rated M for mature game, kids. So make sure your mommy and daddy lets you. I don't know. What should I don't even know what to say.
Or sneak it behind their back.
Or
allegedly.
Hey,
allegedly.
Hey, allegedly. Hey, I'm not.
But that
the
wasn't me,
cops.
Mom. That wasn't me.
That wasn't me, Mom. Sorry, I thought about saying
Not with
something
God of
super
War, at
stupid.
least.
Yeah, so I started getting into Greek mythology, reading the Percy Jackson books, and I got heavy into it. I really enjoyed it. This is just crazy stories. And I heard about Hercules, and I heard about his, was it 12 labors? I think, or 10 or 12?
was
I think it's
10,
12.
right?
12 labors of Hercules.
12 labor of Hercules. And it was just like really cool. I don't know. I was just like a big fan. And then this game came out where I'm literally killing gods, Greek gods. And I'm just like this tyrant. And I have my family's ashes attached to my skin. And I was like, this is ridiculously cool. And so when the first 2 are not tamed, but the third one is just balls to the wall crazy. You are murking all of these gods. And you get to the point where you have to fight Hercules, which is your half brother, because your Zeus is your daddy.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say,
Fun
blanket
fact.
spoilers for any games here, just in case. That's an old game, though,
I mean,
so
it's
if you
over.
didn't know that.
It's 10
yeah.
years old. Yeah. Um, and as you're killing these bosses, you're getting boss weapons. And so Hercules comes out and he has these massive gauntlets, like lion gauntlets. And as soon as I see them, I was like, "Oh, those are gonna be mine." And so you just like can't wait to just kill Hercules to just like get these gauntlets. It's just like the coolest thing. And yeah, Hercules knows that you're his brother, and Hercules is just like, while you got to be a god, because in the second one you become actually god of war. And Hercules is like, while you got to be a god, I had to do these 12 labors. I had to find an apple. I had to clean stables. So he's like super
Have to
jelly.
go down to hell.
It's,
My good.
yeah, it's just, I don't know. It just tickles me pink. I don't know how I feel about that.
It tickling you pink?
It's tickling me pink. Tickling me pink. But yeah, big fan.
Did you like it? Do you like that they switched to like a more Norse mythology?
I don't mind it. I try not to be biased towards anything. I played the first one. I haven't played the second one yet. I'm waiting to get a PlayStation 5 to play the second one.
It's on PC now. If your PC can handle it.
Oh, well, based off of it crashing every time I podcast. Really not. um, but yeah, no, I like the calmer, I like the calmness of it. It's good.
Mhm.
I mess with it. I try to like everything. I try not to hate on anything.
For the most part, a good,
Except
good
like
outlook.
murders. Yeah, I don't like murders and stuff. I don't take that as content.
Entertainment wise, you try to find joy in it.
Amen, brother.
There you go.
I couldn't get into the new God of War games. I was in the midst of Elden Ring and tried to switch over, and I was like, this feels slow and dull.
Mm.
And everyone's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, have you played Elden Ring? Because that crap is fast.
It is. Shit is fast.
It's true. And it's a lot, and the new one's a lot more story driven, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like tries to be more cinematic and things like that.
Yeah.
I got it on Steam. It's on my ever-growing list of games to play, but I got it.
Nice.
So for my number 3, I think there's something to finding a hidden boss. And this is probably one of the best hidden bosses ever. And also, it is just so cool to find him. He doesn't actually say anything. This is the pick I thought of right before the podcast, and it is Red from Heart Gold and Soul Silver in 2010.
Nice.
I thought about picking that one.
Yeah. Who I would say is like the real final boss of those Pokemon generations. And if you don't know, in case you didn't pick up on the name, it is your character from the first one, canonically. And you go through this Elite Four and everything. You beat them. You go and get all the other gym badges from Kanto. I always get those two mixed up. And then do you hear about a rumor, or do you just, I don't remember if you just discover him and find him. It's been so long since I've actually, like.
I just found him, but I never read the text when
Yeah.
I was playing through those games as a kid. I was just like, yeah, skip, onto the game.
Yeah.
I also stumbled upon him.
Yeah, I feel like that's how most people did. I feel like that's what I did as well. But his team is just baller. He's got all 80s. His lowest level is an 80. Highest level is an 88. He has Pikachu, Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise, Lapras, and Snorlax. And those all hit like freaking trucks. His Snorlax is a tank of all tanks. And like I said, he doesn't say a word. He hits you with the ellipses. And then you hear his theme play. And it's just so awesome, so cool. And for that, it's a fantastic number 3 pick in my opinion. I mean, obviously biased, but I think it fits my hidden boss. So I kind of try to have a theme with all my picks, and I think he's definitely one of the best.
Yeah, I toyed with throwing a Pokemon trainer on here, but I couldn't decide which one.
I was thinking maybe Cynthia after that, or freaking.
Cynthia's pretty brutal. I knew she was coming, so I built my team around her when I did my most recent playthrough, and I still just squeaked by.
As a kid, that freaking chick with the milk tanks, the third gym and Gen 2, hated her every time.
Yeah, I didn't use rock Pokemon at the time, and now it's like,
fighting,
get a Geodude, she's easy.
Yeah. Oh, he's gone.
He's back.
He's back.
Hello, hello.
Lou, do you have a favorite Pokemon like boss or gym leader or Elite Four member?
None of the honestly, I play those games so blindly. I'm just like a robot. I really don't have any like emotion. I'm just killing the next one.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that come to mind I really like was the army guy. I think he
Lieutenant
was
Surge?
Lieutenant Surge.
yeah, big fan of the Surge.
Oh.
Ha, big fan. Um and then there's this chick that I always had a hard time with, but I can't remember.
Was the one with the milk
She
tank?
had like
I don't know if we talked about
I
that a little
don't
bit
know.
before you left.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember what generation it was?
No, not
Okay.
a fan. I'm looking it up right now actually. But yeah. I'm just like pumping them out.
So Gary, Mother Truckin' Oak, or Blue, also known.
Blue, yeah, Blue definitely is probably the one I'd pick.
Mm-hmm.
First time I fought him as the champion, I like didn't process because I just blew through the text. I was like, I beat the Elite Four, and so I walked into the fight without healing first, and whoo, that didn't go well.
Mm-hmm. Did you at least save beforehand? Or no, because I thought it was the end of the game.
I don't think so. I think I had to go back, beat Lance again, and then prep for him, and then go in and do the final fight.
Cynthia? You thinking Cynthia, Lou?
Cynthia, yes, blonde.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Yep, Cynthia.
So that's a solid pick. This is her melodic. Gosh.
Oh, that thing.
What was your strategy, Mike, when you went back in your latest playthrough?
Have a nice move. We'll be able to handle everything if we can just take out the Garchomp quick.
There you go.
And the Molotic was a problem.
That was melodic.
Melodic, I don't know.
Top Topper, also known as Pokemon Trainer Cantwell, leave us down below what's the ultimate strategy that you used, and what's your favorite boss Pokemon? And any other listeners, any other toppers out there, let us know who your favorite Pokemon bosses are. Mike, who is your number 3?
All right, this is where the list gets good for me. Bringing in number 3 from Elden Ring. We're going Godric the Grafted.
Good choice.
Wow, I thought about putting that one.
I thought you might. That was the one of the two that I was like, there's a chance, but then I was like, there's just so many Soulsborne games that there's just not. It's not likely. Godric was the first boss where I was just like, this is impossible. There's no way to beat this guy without like 3 people and help. Or well, obviously that is help, but like, yeah, I was just like, there's not a chance. And we had to beat him like 3 times because it was me and Hot Kyle and Hot Kyle's roommate. So it was like we had to get all of us past this fight. And by the end of it, it was like everybody else had died. He was only on half health, and we were in the second phase. It was just me, and it was just like the world slowed down, and I was just like, I backpedaled and figured out his moves, and then I just 1v1'd him down. And like the first time I did that was just the greatest feeling of like, oh, I've learned you. I've played you so many times. This isn't you're nothing. And it's still a challenging fight, but like when you can, that was one of the times I felt the boss almost like go into slow motion, and you're like, oh, this is easy now. Great fight, great feeling to finally beat him. Also, such a good introduction to like, oh, hey, by the way, all these are going to have 2 phases. Watch out.
I just love the concept, too, that he, like, takes the people he beats and, like, grafts it into his body.
Right? So creepy, so cool. And he just feels so fast, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at first, you're just like, it doesn't even matter if you can learn his moves. They just come so quick. And now when you fight him, it's like, the windup is so notable. Like, my problem is jumping early.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember, like, I think
His projectiles
yeah, the projectiles are
really got me.
crazy. I remember, like, it was, like, within the first 5 attempts, like, I'm down to, like, a third left, and then he knocked me off the edge. I'm like, oh, screw you. So then it doesn't feel, I mean, yes, I lost.
Are you thinking of the guy at the gate?
No, the guy, the grafted guy. I know who it is, but there's it's an open ledge.
There's
you can
an
fall
edge
off.
to that fight.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh yeah, there's definitely edge to that fight.
Huh. Who knew?
No, the troll that drops down at the gate. That's nothing. It's crazy that that's like the first boss, really, the first actual boss.
Right. Well, I mean, the guy who guards Godric's castle, I can never remember his name. The gatekeeper. You fight him again later.
3 times, right?
Oh, maybe.
Because he's the guy with the line on the back. You fight him twice in the capital city. And I think he's right before that.
Yeah.
Godfrey?
Yeah.
Is
That
his
one's
name?
also a pretty. Godfrey. Yeah. He's a pretty tough fight too. But.
Mhm. Especially his final fight when he just suplexes you. Great. I'm guessing we're gonna talk about Elden Ring more potentially, so I won't say too much.
I suspect so. So yeah, we can leave it there.
Yeah. Lou, who or what is your number 3?
I got no Elden Ring. To be honest with you guys.
Oh, whoa.
Oh.
Nope, 0 Elden Ring. My number 3 is actually the boss that really got me hooked on Dark Souls games. It is the Abyss Watchers, Dark Souls 3.
Mm-hmm.
It is just a chef's kiss. So I think this is a really good way to like walk through why I love it so much. So when you get in to Dark Souls 3, right, you beat the Cemetery of Ash. You beat no, you beat Lux Gordar. That was the location. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's that Voral guy, right? The guy that runs on 4 legs. Yep. Then you beat the
And then you
Greatwood.
you beat the Vort of the. I should have did some research on how to pronounce these things, but you beat that 4-legged ice monster,
Mm-hmm.
and then you beat the Greatwood,
Yeah, that's what.
and then you beat the Crystal Sage.
Mm-hmm.
So you got
Easy.
4 bosses under your belt, and so you're feeling pretty confident, and you have a general idea of like what, like every boss is a little different, but you have like a general idea what's going on, and then you get to Faerun Keep, and then you walk into these Abyss Washers, and the first cinematic thing that happens is that one of them just completely annihilates one of his dudes, just shoves a whole sword in his chest, and then looks directly at you and was like, "All right, you're gonna get the smoke next." And I'm like, "What is going on?"
The
You're
pre-fight
like,
cinematics are just so good in Soulsborne.
so good, so good. And so you're just like, okay, I guess I'll fight you. And it feels like there's a person on the other end with a controller. It feels like, I think his name is Miyazaki. That's not right.
Mhm.
That's another guy. It feels
That's
like the
Nintendo,
creator
yeah.
of this game. It feels like the creator of this game is literally playing just you. It feels like a person. And I'm like, what is going on? This is insane. It just feels like you're fighting another character, like of your own.
Miyazaki. Yeah, you're right.
Miyazaki.
I was
Okay,
thinking
I
Miyamoto.
was right.
I was thinking Miyamoto. That's on me.
I was also thinking Miyamoto. So similar. And so then you start fighting him, and then his other guys, other dudes will come up and also start fighting, but they keep fighting each other while you're fighting them, which is you don't know what's going on.
That's kind of
And
sick.
then it's crazy, and then you play, and then you beat that, and then that guy gets all of their powers, and he starts a flaming sword, and then you have to beat him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just like such a good game. And then once you beat all the rest of the people, you beat all the rest of the bosses, you go to the Soul Ascender, and you're like, oh, you were just like practice to beating the final boss. Like the final boss has some similarities to the Abyss Watchers, and it's just like it's such a chef's kiss of how beautiful these things are these bosses are created, because it's all just practice to the final boss. And is it the hardest boss? No, it's not. The what is it? The brothers. You
The
guys know what I'm
Deacons of
talking
the
about?
Deep. That's the
No,
hardest.
no,
Deacons of the Deep?
that's
It's
crazy.
so easy.
No, the Lorik, the younger prince.
Yeah, Lothric and
Lothric.
whatever.
The other one. I think personally that's the hardest boss. It's the one that really put my.
I think the DLC has harder bosses, but I don't know if you're.
I never. No, I didn't never get to play
Oh
the
my
DLC.
gosh, you gotta play some of the DLC.
I know. I'm looking
Fantastic.
forward to it. I'm waiting on a perfect time. But yeah, Abyss Watchers, It got me hooked. It got me to play Dark Souls 2, sadly.
Ooh,
Sounds like
ooh,
you regret it.
ooh.
Gosh, I'm happy that I can say I beat all the Dark Souls for sure. The only game I haven't beat is Demon Souls yet. Waiting for a PlayStation 5.
If this video gets 100 likes, we will do a top podcast Dark Souls 2 run on PC.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I can.
Should be easier with 3 people, you know. Should be pretty quick, right? We're
It
veterans.
put me in such a dark place. I started smoking
Can we do
cigarettes.
almost anything else?
Nope.
So
It's what the
bad.
people want.
Oh my gosh.
If they get 100 likes, you know, that's crazy. So I think you guys are safe. But
That's good.
I am planning on if the money comes in with the tax return, I'm thinking PC this year, boys.
nice.
Nice.
Would recommend. Or Steam Deck even.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go all out. PC, like a good one, seems like the better investment for now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I do
don't
want a
build it
Steam
your
Deck.
own.
At least get maybe some help or something.
Get some help. Yeah, unless you know
No,
how to
I'm
build
talking to
these.
Nate already. I'm
There you
like,
go.
hey, what do I do? Yeah, I'm just gonna do pre-belt and get the right specs from Nate and just go with that.
Mm-hmm. But back to the Abyss Watchers, even just the lore. I know the Dark Souls does a very much environmental storytelling. You have to really dig deep in the lore, but like watching videos about like the lore behind that boss fight makes it even that much better and everything. It's so good.
Yeah, because the reason why they're... I'm trying to... Oh, I can say kill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason why they're killing each other is because the abyss is inside them.
Yeah, so it's
And
like
so they're...
these group
yeah.
of sworn people like we're gonna go into the abyss and fight it and hold it back, but then they're tainted by it and they're locked in this eternal conflict of just slaying each other over and over again.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So good.
Fantastic. All right, my number 2. This one might. I don't think Lou's fought this boss yet, so I mean, not really spoiler because you know pretty early on that you're just like I want to kill this guy, but I think he has he has his own theme song. So first and foremost, that's fantastic in a boss. Just the atmosphere around him and the challenge, especially on the hard mode, makes him just an unforgettable boss in my opinion. It is from Baldur's Gate 3. I know I've never talked about it before. It came out in 2023, and that is Raphael.
Dude, when I was researching, I saw his name come up in a bunch of lists, and I almost picked it just to mess with you.
Just to mess with me, yeah. It's fantastic. So
I beat Raphael, by the
okay,
way.
yeah, okay, good. I didn't know because I know you kind of when I last talked to you, you kind of stopped at Act 3, so I didn't know if you got that far.
I finished it.
Yeah. Especially in honor mode, he is a tough fight to beat if you're not like trying to cheese it. Which obviously some people do, and that way any boss is easy when you're cheesing it. But this whole game, he is this demon that's like trying to like get you to make a deal, like sell your soul to easily fix it. And it's like the only option I haven't done in that game is made a deal with him because he is just such a awful person. Obviously, he's a demon, but like there's nothing about it that even makes me want to be like, yeah, you know, next playthrough I'll take his deal. But as soon as you fight him, he starts singing like his own theme song and all that, and it's just got the organ and everything, and you're fighting him in hell, and it's such fantastic. Chef's Kiss, my favorite boss in that game, and I think that's a pretty cold take and so fun in my opinion. It's so great. Just like when I first played it, like embedded itself into my brain, and that was what made me want to talk. Well, not really, but it's part of the reason I want to talk about this list because it was just such a great boss design.
I mean, there's always one you're most excited about, so, or at least for me, there is.
And surprisingly enough, his health is 666, which I thought was just a funny
Nice.
touch.
Please wait while our unpaid intern deals with some technical difficulties.
So Lou,
Tough.
what did you think about Raphael in Baldur's Gate 3?
Oh man, I had so many good things to say. Get a pre-build, kids. Don't build your own PC. Yes. So the reason why you fight him, right, is because you go into his place, you go into hell, and steal all his stuff. Are you guys with me?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Or
All
you
right,
just
good
hate
stuff.
him enough that you just want to kill him.
Or oh yeah, I guess I didn't. Have you tried to fight him outside of hell?
I have not, but I know you can.
Oh really? Interesting. But the game does a really good job with thinking that you're not going to run into him in hell. That you're going to be able to sneak in and sneak out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's right until you get out of the you're right as you're about to leave, he pops out. and you're just like, oh no, like what's gonna happen? And you start fighting, and you go like, I kind of got freaked out a little bit because I was like, I don't think I could beat this guy. Did you end up? Because I ended up killing his minion for him, and so then you had to fight him. So you pretty much had to fight 2 bosses.
Mm-hmm. You can convince that guy to join your side, but it's like a pretty high
It's pretty
persuasion
high.
check.
Yeah, I did not pass that.
It's like a 21 or something.
Yeah. No, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mike, who is your number 2?
My number 2, which is another one we're risking crossing over with Luchin potentially, is the final boss of Metroid Dread. Spoilers ahead, potentially. Ravenbeak.
I think it's the best final boss. I think it's top 5 final boss of any video game.
He's so good.
So
Honestly, it's been long enough since I fought him again that next time I play that game and I had to do that fight, I'm gonna have to figure out how to even damage him again. Cause like, I think you have to just blast him relentlessly with the barrage of missiles. Um, but like it doesn't even feel like it's doing anything for the longest time, and his attacks are so quick and so precise and so fast that like he feels invincible, and he's got this huge like ball of energy that he sends out after, and you have to destroy this thing before it reaches you because there's just like no way to dodge it because it just follows you. Uh, and so it puts all your movement abilities to the test, and it puts all your combat abilities to the test at the same time, and it's got these awesome cinematics, multi phases. It ends with this incredible the conclusion to this series essentially wraps up in this one moment, and then you become a Metroid hybrid, and you get this crazy Metroid beam and finally destroy him, and it just leads right into the escape sequence, which is a Metroid absolute staple, and it's just one thing after the another. It's so good. It's one of the best. It's the second best boss fight I could come up with, and I absolutely love it. Probably the best boss fight in the series.
Oh, I think easily the best boss fight in
Like
the series.
for all Metroid?
Yeah, for all. I mean, that's why
Oh.
I'm hedging my bets here.
Gotcha.
But there's really only 1 or 2 that jumped out to me more, so it's close. Or not
only
even
thing
more, as much.
His like Gatling gun is the only thing that I was like, all right, this is ridiculous. Where he's just like constantly shooting at you. I've learned how to cheese it, but I never really learned how to get away with it without dying.
Gatling gun. Honestly, I don't even remember all of his attacks. I know he has a ton.
It's it's like he's like constantly shooting at you. But I also looked up how many phases he had because I felt like it was more than 3, but it's only 3. But it feels like there's like 10 phases.
Yeah, he feels like he's never gonna end, in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
Never played it, so I can't tell you.
I think you'd like it, man.
I want to try it. Just always seems like it's next game I might get that or something. The problem is
Right.
Nintendo never has sales, so
That is one of the biggest things.
yeah,
It's ridiculous.
I could spend $60 on this, or I could get 3 games for $20 on Steam during a Steam sale.
Yeah.
I'll just loan it to you next time you're here.
There we go. Lou, what is your number 2 boss?
My number 2 boss is from. It's not from Cuphead. It's from Hollow Knight. My number 2 boss is from Hollow Knight. It's the Mantis Lords.
Nice. Serious contender.
This one is. It's not really a hard boss. It did get me a handful of times. It's the build up. I think it's one of the coolest like areas. And so you go into this area and you start beating these like different kind of mantises, and they all have the. I was gonna call it the stink. The stank. What's the evil stuff that they have? The
I don't
darkness.
think they're. I don't think that
Infection.
they're.
No.
I don't think they have that.
No,
I think
the
they're
Mantis
just their-
Lords don't have it, but their sidekicks have it. As you're going into the boss battle.
No, it's because you haven't earned the respect of the mantises yet. Like that's why they Like, because you don't actually kill the mantis lords, you just beat them in combat, you best them, and then they nod to you, and from that point on, you get like the seal, and so like all the other mantises no longer attack you.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. Learn something new every
So it's
day.
actually even deeper than that. They're not infected. They're just like
So
they're
you actually get the
basically
stank that lets them know not to attack you.
Yeah, the stank, so not to mess with you. I knew that. Part of me knew that because once you beat them, that they won't try to kill you. I don't know why I thought. Never mind. But yeah, so you go through this area. It's like different than most areas, so you're like trying to figure out what's going on, and then you finally kind of find these like mantis lords, and just the vibe is like really cool. You can tell like there's this like prestigeness to them. You know, they're like just I don't know, just really cool warriors, and they all have nails. Or two of the three, it looks like they at least have nails.
I think they all have nails. Yeah.
Okay, and they're all coming at you in different ways, and the boss is really cool, but just I don't know, the lore of it I think is awesome. And then you find out that they are protecting they're killing enemies from the deepness, I think.
Deep nest, yeah, which is like the scariest part of the whole game.
Which is exactly, yeah, so it's super scary. And so yeah, I'm a big fan.
I
Yeah,
like the
my
design.
favorite thing about that fight is so there's 3 of them, and you start off by fighting one of them, and then once you beat him, the other 2 jump into the ring. He jumps back to his seat. They're all on these like chairs that overlook the ring that you're in, and then you have to fight both of them at the same time, and they all have the same move set, but they got like 5 different moves you have to learn. So you understand what the moves are, but now you have to be dodging 2 of them at the same time. And I haven't actually beat this. There's a final. I think they might be women actually. I know I just called them dudes earlier. But there's a final refight version where you fight all 3 at the same time, and it's called like the Sisters of Chaos, which is I can't get to it in the boss rush mode to unlock the practice mode to be able to play it as much as I want. But it is freaking difficult. I've tried it one time at Andrews, and it is a nightmare. But it's so much fun.
I thought I was good at this game until I saw Andrew play it. And
Andrew's next level.
Oh,
really good.
I'm a boy among men playing this game. It's just absolutely ridiculous. He was going into places I didn't even know was part of the game. I was like, what is going on here? But yeah, really, really good. Most of my second option, it was either that one or it was going to be the Dung Defender. Just because I love the Dung Defender. I love fighting him. I love what he represents.
It's like the Dung Eater in Dark Souls 3.
No, he's actually kind of the
Ring.
opposite. It is Elden Ring, but he's kind of like the opposite of the Dung Eater. He's a dung beetle.
Mm-hmm.
So fun pun. But he's actually like a really good guy, and he's super cheerful even when you're fighting him and you beat him. He's like, "Hey, good job."
Oh yeah, that is the exact opposite of the Dung Eater.
It is the opposite. The fan art of the Dung Defender is pretty cool. The intern's looking at it right now. I'm a big fan. I might have to get a sticker.
Oh yeah, that's fun. Alright, so my whole list, I've tried to take aspects of what I think makes a good boss. So I had the spectacle. This next boss beat me to oblivion so many times that I just had like this like hatred for him. It's a hidden boss, and BA design and the atmosphere to it is just fantastic. It is from Dark Souls 3. It came out in 2016, and it is the Nameless King and his Storm Drake known as the King of Storms. I don't know if you guys ever got to him. And
I got to like the second boss in Dark Souls 3. I was like, I'm done.
Oh my gosh. I love the bosses. But he's a completely optional boss. He's definitely top 3 for difficulty. I wouldn't say he's the hardest. I think the DLC one is harder. But man, just you get to this place and it's like you're fighting in the clouds and everything, and first you fight his dragon who's like casting like lightning bolts at you, and you end up like mortally wounding this dragon, and he ends up like basically mercy killing it so you can't have it, and he basically Dragonborn absorbs its soul, and then you're fighting him as he's just like trying to take you on with all of his might, and it's fantastic. I loved him. Great boss, great music as well for the atmosphere, and I nerded all over the floor when he was shown in the newest Elden Ring game coming out, so hopefully he's coming back.
Oh, that was him. Okay.
Yep, I absolutely loved him. I nerded all over the floor.
Oh my gosh.
And I just think he does the best out of all the aspects. I think makes a good boss, and for that, I think, in my opinion, undisputed best video game boss of all time. Do you beat him, Lou?
Nope. I'm waiting for PlayStation 5.
Well, it's not a DLC, but I didn't know if you got there when you had Dark Souls 3.
I did not. No. I'm waiting to get a PlayStation 5, then I'm buy Dark Souls 3 again and get all the DC, and you guys are not going to see me for a month.
Yeah. And it's like it's one of those areas in Dark Souls where it's just like super convoluted, where if my friend Kevin didn't tell me, I wouldn't have known how to get to the area. But it's a fantastic for all you lore Souls heads out there. He is the son of Gwen, the Lord of Sunlight, which is the final boss in the very first game and everything. And it just really cool lore behind him as well.
Nice.
Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I
Oh.
love the boss in the first game, but my number one. So let's see. I'm trying to think factors that this final boss has that we've talked about. Optional hidden boss. Technically, he's part of the DLC, but when you get Hollow Knight now, all the DLC just comes with it. So he's there. You don't have to download it. It's just it happens. But like you have to backtrack to a place you've already finished, do a thing, do all these quests. You beat him, you go again, and then his final form is just an option, and it is so hard. Which is another thing. I spent multiple 6-hour nights just grinding this fight over and over and over again. And it is so complicated. And it, just like Ravenbeak, it tests all your movement and all your combat skills, takes you to the brink. And just like Godric, when you finally have it mastered to the point where you can beat him, you start to feel him slow down. And it takes so long. He slows down so gradually that it goes from feeling like impossible, unfair to just like a dance. It's not even a fight anymore. It's just hit this beat, boom, get my shot in, dodge. It's so much fun. Nightmare King Grim is my pick for the greatest boss fight of all time. Unbelievably challenging. I wouldn't say go fight him. It is an obscene amount of work just to get to him. But look up watch a YouTube of somebody doing it. It's insane. It took me longer to beat than any boss I've ever fought, but I've never felt better completing a boss fight in my life.
Did Andrew
I
beat
would
it on his
never.
first try?
No, but Andrew has beaten it without taking a hit.
My
Oh my
goodness.
gosh.
Yeah, there's an option in the when you get to the boss rush. There's a room where you can practice all the bosses, and you can set it to it will kill you in one hit. And so he has beat it on Ascendant mode.
I know people do that
Yeah.
for Dark Souls run. No, I could not do that.
I've seen people beat Dark Souls with like a toilet.
Yeah, playing with Doritos or something.
Yeah, it's insane.
Well, Lou, who is your number one all-time
Well,
boss?
I don't know if I can give that much energy to to this boss.
Dung Eater,
based off
Elder.
the last pick. My favorite boss comes from one of my favorite games of all time, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice,
Nice.
and it is just a boss that I just never really understood. It was a boss that was so different than everything else. There's a lot of great bosses in Sekiro. This another good boss is like some of the best bosses when you're just like straight up 1v1ing other shinobis, including your dad. But the one that absolutely just takes the cake for me is the Guardian Ape. It is hands down just one of the most frustrating but coolest bosses of all time. Is you like trying to fight this ape? You see you go into like this really cool woods, and then you fall down into like this like water pit, and you just see this like massive ape, and you're just like, oh, I gotta fight this thing, which is absolutely nuts. And then it farts, and you get poisoned, and then it reaches behind and pulls crap out of his butt, and then throws it at you. And you're just like, what is?
This is Soulsborne?
Yeah, this is
Sekiro.
Soulsborne. and Sekiro. And I'm just like, this is the craziest boss of all time. And then you finally beat it. You pull the knife, you pull the sword out of the guy's head, and then you tear his head off. And then like all the bosses you beat before comes up with a good job, you beat the boss. I can't remember exactly what it says, but I think like Shinobi determinated, or I don't know, whatever. So you think you're done, and the monkey picks up its head, grabs the sword, and then you have to beat him with the sword in the head that is poisonous. It's just absolutely just insane. It fights like a monkey. If you like look up like monkey fighting, it's exactly like that. It's sporadic, it's heavy hitting. You don't know what's going on. Yeah, it's just a good time.
Never
That
made
is
it far in
not
Sekiro.
What I thought you were gonna say, but that I think Sekiro is the next Soulsborne game I want to play, except maybe the new Elden Ring, one of those two. But it's on the list for the next like real one, and that has believe it or not, that has not dissuaded me.
Oh, good. I mean,
Has it encouraged you?
That's what I was wondering.
Pretty much. I'm just like, okay, that sounds weird, but I still want to play the game.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think pound for pound, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I think it has the most intriguing boss battles. It's the most like adaptable boss battles. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
You're really like I had to look up guides to almost every single boss battle in Sekiro.
Mm.
So, which I didn't need to do in Elden Ring. Most of the bosses are like, okay, I get what's going on.
Mhm. You guys got any honorable mentions?
I didn't beat Ghost of Tsushima, but anytime you did a one-on-one duel in that game, I freaking loved it. So I had to imagine that's what the last boss was.
Oh my
And,
gosh, bro.
It's got to be so much fun.
That should have been my number one. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot that. So good.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions: Orphan of Konos from Bloodborne. Kos. Kos.
Mhm.
You guys play Bloodborne?
It's
Not a
on
ton,
PC.
but I liked it.
Oh, okay. That one's nuts. The Cuphead, The Last Delicious Course, the Moonshine Mob was ridiculous. Smash Bros, The Master Hand,
Classic.
classic, and then classic Dragon Slayer, Ornstein, and Executor Schmog.
Yes, it's a good one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was gonna do a Dark Souls specific boss, it'd be those two.
Back when dual
Couple
bosses were
more.
fun.
Which one?
The Ornstein Smog. I don't like dual bosses now. I just feel like they're trying to.
I don't in general like dual bosses, but that one gets a pass.
Yeah.
Soul Tyrant, the rematch of Soul Master in Hollow Knight, as well as both of the Hornet fights, are fantastic. And Doc Ock from Spider-Man was going to be my number 5. He's not really a super challenging fight, but just for the spectacle and the pinnacle of the story coming to a close. Oof,
Spider-Man
really
2
good.
and PlayStation 2. For anyone that doesn't know.
Oh, Marvel's Spider-Man 2018.
Okay, never
me.
mind. Well, the Doc Ock on Spider-Man 2, fantastic as well. Also the end of the game, so that's why I thought. My bad. I think it'd be easier for me to say which Dark Souls 3 bosses I don't like. I think I am biased. That was my first like Souls game of the series, but there's just so many like cool design and atmosphere wise. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Slave Knight Gael, who is the final boss in the Ring City last DLC. The Lord of Cinders, who Lou talked about earlier, fantastic boss, also great music. And then I love the atmosphere of the Dancer of the Boreal Valley, just like the sound effect moves that this guy does, or girl, whatever this boss does, is fantastic. And then I'm not gonna talk much about it because Mike hasn't gotten there, but me and Uber, shout out Uber, did Yagluth in Valheim, and that was a very fun boss, my favorite one in Valheim, and I didn't feel like it was strong enough to make it, but I really enjoyed it, and it's very similar to like the theme is very similar to that of a Dark Souls 3 boss, which you wouldn't have gotten to, Mike, but it was a really
Okay.
fun time, and it had sick guitar riffs in the music. So
That's good to know because I found the boss fights to be a little underwhelming so far.
this one definitely is not like super Soulsborne, but definitely more so than the other ones.
Pretty cool.
Lou, did you go through your secondary list with your honorable mentions, or do you want lightning around it?
That was all of them. The only one I didn't talk about is the Dr. Cal's robot from Cuphead.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's from Cuphead. That one's pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
Pronunciation has not been my friend today.
I get you.
But yep. That's me.
Well, let us know your favorite bosses down below in the comments. Mike, what are we talking about next week?
You know, I feel like we've been saving a couple objective or like big, broad, grand topics, and I think that's silly. I think we need to just do them. So I just want to know top 5 movies.
Oof.
Okay.
Question. So I'm guessing I couldn't say the Lord of the Rings trilogy, even though it's like one continuous story.
I'd give you the Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
The Lord of the Rings trilogy is the only one I'd be okay with that.
All right.
I can't do Harry Potter. All of them.
Absolutely not.
Well, he also just hates the movie, so he'll definitely say no for that one.
Only because the book was like it's supposed to be one story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd be okay with it by the rules. It really shouldn't be, but
okay. If I go, I will pick one of the Lord of the Rings movies. It's gonna be on
Can I
my
do
list.
all
I'm not
4
spoiling.
John Ricks?
You could, and then just have a 5th one.
one per franchise.
All Indiana Jones? I'm sorry, Robert. I'm done.
No. There's only 3 Indiana Jones movies, so I mean.
That's true.
No. The one where he was trapped in the fridge and got nuked. That's one.
No, that's not one. What are you talking about?
I think you're dreaming.
Are you
man.
doing some bad fan art? Some bad fan-made movie?
That sounds like a fan.
From like YouTube or something?
Yeah.
Sounds like something a cokehead would come up with.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening to this week's episode of the Top Podcast. It seems like a good place to wrap it up. Gosh. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a like, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, let us know your favorite bosses. Let us know anything that you want to do as a kid that you end up not being able to do. If you're watching on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, check the comments below. I know we have some people commenting down below. Leave us a 5-star review and leave us a message in that review and we'll read it off on the pod. Other than that, hope you guys have a great week. And rest in peace, Perry the Miniature Donkey, who was the model for Donkey and Shrek. Peace out, guys.
Shawshank, Godfather, Dark Knight, Godfather 2, Angry Men.
Spoiler. Do you say Anchorman?
Ah! Angry Men!
Okay, I was going to say. Anchorman's
12 Angry Men?
Yes! 5.
It's going to have Piglet on there.
Piglet. Pulp Fiction.
No.
Fight Club. Goodfellas. Interstellar.
All right, see you guys.